Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. In today's video, we'll dive into a heartfelt story about Alex, Tuna, and the difficult choices that love and family can bring. Sometimes, love isn't only about being together. It's about sacrifice, pride, and misunderstandings that cut deeper than words. Stay with me as we uncover how Tuna makes a life-changing decision and how Alex struggles to understand what her choice truly means. If you enjoy this kind of storytelling, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next episode. This episode follows Tuna as she struggles with her place in Alex's family. Despite Alex's care, his sister's cold suspicion makes Tuna feel unwanted, leading her to believe she is a burden. Determined not to cause trouble, she quietly leaves Alex's home with her newborn, returning to the farm where she feels she belongs. Alex, unaware of her feelings, is shocked when he discovers she is gone. Though he rushes to find her, his heart grows conflicted. Was her decision truly about family tension? Or had she given her heart to another man? Meanwhile, Tuna steels herself for a new beginning, resolute not to return, even as she still holds feelings for Alex. The story ends in bittersweet silence, with Alex and Tuna separated by misunderstanding, both longing yet unable to bridge the distance between them. The small room smelled faintly of baby formula, the kind of sweetness that lingered in the air long after feeding time. A soft coo drifted from the newborn cradled in Tuna's arms. She sat quietly, rocking gently, her gaze tender yet shadowed with fatigue. The room was warm, peaceful on the surface, but behind her calm eyes was a heaviness she could not shake. The door creaked open, and Alex stepped in, his hurried steps slowing the moment he saw her. His shoulders, tense from the weight of business calls and looming deadlines, softened. His eyes, however, carried warmth. "How's the baby today?" His voice was low, careful, like he didn't want to disturb the sleeping infant. Tuna managed a small smile. "He's fine," she said softly. Alex nodded, a hint of relief crossing his features. He moved closer, setting down a small bag he'd carried in. "Make sure you're eating enough and drink more milk," he urged gently, his eyes still fixed on the child. For a moment, the two of them stood in quiet unity, the child between them, both hearts tethered by silent care. But beneath the surface, an invisible distance stretched. Alex's world was tangled with contracts, work, and responsibility, while Tuna's was defined by solitude, sleepless nights, and the quiet weight of being an outsider. He touched her shoulder lightly, a gesture that carried both comfort and a subtle plea. "Be strong. For me, for us." Then he straightened, turning toward the hallway where his mother stood. "I'm off to work, Mom," he said, voice warm yet edged with fatigue. His mother gave a proud but worried nod. "Take care, son." Morning sunlight spilled over Alex's back as he stepped outside. Strong, composed, yet inwardly burdened. The contract with Adam weighed on his mind. Profit, growth, stability. But as he slipped into his car, a flicker of doubt surfaced. Was he neglecting something far more important than business? The thought lingered for a moment, but the shrill ring of his phone pulled him back to the present. He inhaled deeply, turned the key, and drove away. Behind him, the house fell into silence. But Tuna and the tiny life she carried in her arms stayed vivid in his mind like an unshakable echo. By midday, sunlight pierced the curtains, flooding the room with golden light. Tuna sat beside her mother, her voice quiet but steady. "I don't want to be a burden to Alex's family any longer," she whispered, her gaze fixed on nothing in particular. Her mother looked at her, confused, but she continued before being interrupted. "His sister already doubts me. She doesn't have a good impression of me, and I can feel it every time she looks my way. If I stay, it will only create more problems for Alex. And I don't want to become that weight." Her arms tightened around her child, who slept peacefully, oblivious to the storm swirling in his mother's heart. The home that once felt warm and welcoming now felt like a reminder of what didn't belong, of what couldn't last. Alex's mother stepped forward, concern etched across her face. "Dear, the baby is still so young. At least stay until he grows a little stronger. Don't rush yourself." Her voice trembled with sincerity. But Tuna shook her head, firm and resolute. "I'm fine now, and he's fine too. I must return to the farm. That's where I belong." Her words fell heavy, solid as stone, and the room stilled. Her own mother, quiet but understanding, nodded. She reached out with aged hands to help fold and pack the little belongings scattered around. Each piece tucked away carried the weight of farewell. The room, once filled with the hum of daily life, now felt heavy, as though time itself slowed, counting down to a painful goodbye. Tuna rose, gathering her baby closer, as if shielding him from both the world outside and the ache in her own chest. Alex's mother could only watch, regret clouding her eyes. She wanted to stop her, to beg again, but something in Tuna's expression told her nothing would change her mind. The sound of belongings being packed, clothes folded, small bottles clinking, became the quiet soundtrack of departure. As Tuna stepped toward the door, sunlight blazed through, casting her figure in sharp relief. Small, fragile even, yet undeniably resolute. She wasn't just leaving. She was choosing a new beginning, one where she wouldn't be seen as a burden. The world ahead was vast, even cruel at times, but her determination burned brighter than the fear. With every step outside, she carried not just her baby, but the weight of her choice, the weight of dreams that had no place in Alex's home. Late afternoon painted the cafe in hues of orange and gold as Alex leaned back in his chair, contract freshly signed and sealed. A faint smile tugged at his lips. The deal with Adam meant success. More resources for the company, better opportunities for local farmers. For a moment, pride swelled in his chest. But quickly, his thoughts turned to Tuna. He left the cafe, strolling down the street, the buzzing crowd a blur around him. Stopping at a small shop, his eyes scanned the shelves. Fans, mats, baby formula. "Is this fan strong enough?" he asked the shopkeeper, running his hand over the cool plastic. He imagined the hot afternoons at the farm. Tuna, struggling to keep the baby comfortable. He picked a fan, a mat, and a box of formula. Each item was small, ordinary, yet for him, they carried the weight of love he hadn't managed to put into words. Coins clinked against the counter, and with each sound, his chest tightened. As he loaded the items onto his bike, his thoughts drifted again. He pictured Tuna, alone, caring for the baby with tired but determined eyes. He should be with her more. He knew that. But work always seemed to take him away. The sunset washed his face in amber light, the shadows deepening the lines of worry around his eyes. He tightened the straps on the packages, then climbed onto his bike. The engine hummed beneath him as he started down the road. Around him, The city thrived with sound and motion, but inside, all he saw was Tuna. Was she lonely? Did she feel abandoned? He wanted the gifts to bring her comfort, but deep down, unease stirred. Something felt incomplete, as if the gap between them had already widened beyond reach. The road stretched ahead, long and endless, the hum of the engine blending with his thoughts. Success pressed against his shoulders like a heavy crown, but the absence of Tuna in his joy left a void that no contract could fill. And so he drove, twilight settling in, carrying both his victories and his regrets into the night. The crimson glow of sunset stretched across the horizon as Alex finally arrived home. The weight of the day's triumph, his signed contract, the promises of profit, the steps toward growth, still lingered. But an eerie silence swept through the house the moment he stepped inside. The usual hum of Tuna's quiet presence, the soft noises of the baby, the subtle warmth that filled the rooms, gone. "Mom?" Alex's voice wavered as he glanced around. "Where's Tuna?" His mother appeared in the doorway, her face pale, eyes uneasy. She hesitated, then sighed, voice trembling. "She left. She insisted on going back to the farm. I tried to convince her to stay, but she wouldn't listen. The baby's so young, but she was determined." The words struck Alex like a blow. He froze, the bag of gifts still in his hand, then suddenly slipped from his grasp. The fan, mat, and formula tumbled to the floor, the dull thud echoing through the room like a warning bell. His chest tightened. He scanned the space, empty now, void of the fragile life he'd grown used to. Gone. He clenched his fists. His mind raced with questions, doubts, and regrets. Why hadn't she waited for him? Why hadn't she trusted him enough to stay? And then a darker thought crept in, one he couldn't silence. Was there another man? Was that why she was so determined to leave? The possibility stung. His heart twisted, a bitter taste filling his mouth. Tuna's resolute expression, her firm tone, her refusal to stay, it all seemed to point toward something he wasn't ready to face. "I have to find her," he muttered, urgency burning in his voice. His mother reached for him, her eyes pleading. "Son, maybe give her time. She feels she's a burden, chasing her now." But Alex was already moving. He grabbed his keys, motioning for his mother to follow. Together, they rushed toward the motorbike. The engine roared to life, headlights cutting through the creeping night. The road ahead stretched into darkness, each turn filled with anxiety and unanswered questions. Tuna, meanwhile, walked the dirt path, her figure small against the vast expanse of twilight. She cradled her baby close, whispering softly, "Hold on, little one. We're almost there." The path was rough, the air heavy with dust and the scent of earth. Each step felt heavier than the last, yet her resolve didn't waver. She could no longer stay in Alex's world, not when his sister's eyes carried judgment, not when she feared becoming a wedge in his family. The farm awaited her, not just as a place, but as a return to where she felt she belonged. A simpler life, harder maybe, but free of eyes that questioned her worth. The baby stirred, and Tuna kissed his forehead, her steps steady even as her heart trembled. She remembered Alex's kindness, his gentle voice, the way he looked at the child. A pang of longing pressed against her chest, but she shook it off. Kindness wasn't enough to build a future where she wasn't accepted. Her eyes burned with unshed tears, but her determination held firm. Leaving is the only way to protect him, she told herself. The only way to keep from weighing Alex down. Back on the road, Alex's motorbike raced against the night. The wind whipped against his face, carrying the scent of fields and dust. His mother clung to him tightly, her silence heavy, knowing no words could ease the storm in his chest. The road blurred, his thoughts fixated only on Tuna, her weary yet strong eyes, her quiet strength, the way she carried their child like a shield against the world. But along with those images came the gnawing suspicion. Was she leaving because of me? Or because she had found someone else? His grip tightened on the handlebars. The thought twisted deeper. He'd given her a place, care, even tried to share his world with her. And yet, she chose to walk away. The night air grew colder, biting against his skin, amplifying his unease. The bike's headlights carved a narrow path through the darkness, but the horizon remained uncertain, shrouded in shadow. Tuna reached the edge of the farm just as the moon began to rise. The fields stretched endlessly, bathed in silver light. She paused, holding her child closer, taking in the familiar sight, the place that was once her life, her survival. Her mother's words echoed in her memory, Alex's mother's pleas still fresh, but she shut them out. This was her choice. Inside her, a storm raged. A piece of her longed for Alex, for the comfort of his presence, the warmth of his gaze. But she knew his world wasn't hers. His sister's coldness had reminded her of that truth again and again. Better to end it now, she thought, than to drag it out and cause more pain. She stepped forward into the fields, the dirt soft beneath her feet. "We'll be fine," she whispered to her child. "Just you and me. We'll find our way." Meanwhile, Alex's motorbike roared down the last stretch of road toward the farm. His heartbeat pounded in his ears, matching the rhythm of the engine. The lights of the village appeared faintly in the distance. "Son," his mother called softly over the wind. "If she has chosen this, maybe let her go." Her words stung, but Alex couldn't accept them. Not yet. He pressed the throttle harder, determined. But beneath his determination lay doubt, sharp and piercing. If Tuna truly wanted to stay by his side, she wouldn't have left so easily. Her insistence, her unwavering tone. Was it really about his sister? Or had she already given her heart to someone else? The possibility consumed him, clouding the road ahead. At the farm, Tuna settled into the small, worn-down house. She laid her baby gently onto a makeshift bed, her hands trembling slightly. Exhaustion tugged at her, but she forced herself to keep moving, unpacking, preparing, starting anew. The silence of the farm wrapped around her, a silence different from Alex's home. Here, it was emptier, lonelier, but it was hers. She sat down on the edge of the bed, watching her child's chest rise and fall. A faint smile touched her lips. "We'll be okay," she whispered, though her voice cracked. Deep inside, she wondered if Alex would come for her, and if he did, what then? She closed her eyes, forcing the thought away. No matter how much she cared for him, returning would only cause more pain. The night deepened. Alex's bike pulled up to the edge of the farm. He cut the engine, the sudden silence pressing down on him. He scanned the shadows, his chest rising and falling with urgency. But something inside him hesitated. If she had chosen this path, barging in now might only push her further away. And what if his suspicions were true? What if she really had found someone else? Someone she wanted more than him? He stood in the darkness, torn between rushing forward and holding back. The gifts he had bought earlier, the fan, the mat, the formula, flashed through his mind. Symbols of care, of what he wanted to give her. Yet now they felt meaningless, discarded at home on the floor. His fists clenched, his jaw tightened. The farm lay before him, shadowed and quiet, while inside Tuna lay awake, resolute in her choice. The night carried both their silences, his, heavy with confusion and hurt, hers, firm with painful resolve. Two hearts, bound by care yet divided by doubt, stood on opposite sides of the same truth. And as the stars stretched endlessly above, one question remained unanswered. Would the gap between them ever close, or had it already grown too wide to bridge?